Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so a good friend of mine, Laker friend of mine, not involved with the team, but somebody who knows some people who probably can help with some of this. So I say my sources. It's really a Facebook friend, but he was essentially just saying that the Lakers have kicked the can in talks uh, in regards to Miles Turner with the Pacers. That's as much as I got. So the Lakers are trying to see if they can acquire him, if that's at all possible, trying to see what it would take. I'm sure we're on the phone. Rob is on the phone with all kinds of people about all kinds of trades. I'd imagine it's just one of many different scenarios. But the point is, the Lakers are trying to be active, and it seems like they're active in some ways that I think Laker fans could be very happy about. We need what Miles Turner brings to the table. We've had our eyes on Miles Turner for probably the last 6 or 7 years, to be honest with you. Since Kobe was on the team, the Lakers have been talking about Miles turning and liking his style of play and what he brings to the table. So there has always been some connection to him. Trade rumors or just rumblings over the years, and I think I think the time is right. He's already made it clear that he's unhappy with how this situation has gone with the Pacers over the last couple of weeks. He doesn't like how they've treated him as a role player, he says, and putting his name in all these trade talks like he's not, you know, not someone who's accomplished things for their organization. So for me, it's just, I think we need what he brings to the table. He's a center that blocks shots, who can bang with others and stretch the floor. All-star caliber guy who can block a trillion shots, as I've already said, but that's really where he makes his money. He had some big games earlier in the season. I think he had a 40-point game earlier this season. So this is not just an average center or somebody who can just help you. This is a game changer. If the Lakers are to acquire him, he immediately vaults us back into a position of strength in the Western Conference. Because basically, what we're missing is a rebounder, a defensive presence, somebody who can significantly alter our rotation situation so that AD doesn't have to play the center position, and so that we don't have to be so reliant upon older guys like Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan to help us with our rebounding and all of that. Plus, his skill set to stretch the floor. The three-point shot means that he's not clogging the paint for guys to be able to aggressively go to the paint like LeBron and Russell Westbrook like to pierce the defense and try to get into the paint as much as possible. That's a recipe for success with the Lakers. I don't think Miles Turner will get in the way of that in theory. So he's a guy who's in his prime. He's a guy who's hungry to win. He's a guy who's always played in a small city, in Indianapolis. I don't know if he's up for the Lakers and all that crap that comes with that. As we know, it can be a frustrating thing to be a Laker, especially when LeBron James is on the team and you have the expectations to be, his one of his pieces that can help him win a championship. So I don't think everybody's built for that. And I think this would be uncharted territory for Miles Turner, to say the least, being a big city with these type of expectations. But his prototype, his skill set, and who he is as a player is most definitely the shot in the arm that the Los Angeles Lakers need for this roster to help us get back on track. I don't think there's anything on this roster that we can trade for him that I wouldn't trade for him, within reason, obviously, including THT. I would move THT to the Pacers for Miles Turner. I would do that. I wouldn't hesitate at this point. It's not because I don't believe in THT or don't think he can help us win. It's because I know he can, and he's the best trade piece we got to help us acquire what we need. Also, his timeline and our timeline is not necessarily aligned, and I just don't think that he's going to have the leeway to make some of the mistakes necessary for him to develop and who he's going to be. And I just worry about his development in this roster going forward. So for the betterment of him and what I think his strengths are, I think he would probably get much more opportunity to be himself and to grow in a rebuilding situation that doesn't have as many expectations. Plus, he's already won a championship, so personal goals and things of that nature can kind of be more centered around his own development rather than trying to be a part of a winning situation right away. Though most kids don't worry about that kind of stuff, the fact of the matter is he has a ring, so he never has to chase one. So at this point, I just look at THT as probably the best bet for us in terms of getting a player of that caliber, because otherwise we ain't going to be able to acquire him. We can slap all of our garbage together and maybe put together whatever second round pick we have or something. We don't have many picks. So I just can't foresee an opportunity for us to keep something that we like and still get something that we need. I just don't see it. But I'm open to being wrong. Hopefully we can do something and find ourselves in a position to get him without giving up a guy like THT. But I just think that the Lakers are probably in a position to where they don't really have time to wait for THT to grow up. And he has been a liability to start the season. He's kind of contributed to some of the woes, I guess you could say. And I think the people are really zeroing in on his production right now and just saying we need something right now. So I see the Lakers doing that. I really do. I see them trying to do that if they can. I haven't heard that they're involving THT's name, so I don't want to start that rumor. I'm just telling you that if I'm the Pacers, ain't no way I'm giving you Miles Turner without you giving me THT. That's what I'm telling you. So that's how I see that going. So the Lakers need to make a move, and Miles Turner is the right move. Now, whether or not we'll be able to get him, I doubt it. They'll have better packages that they can take back from other teams to get Miles Turner to a new destination, in my opinion. I think the Pacers will have better suitors. The Lakers just don't have the greatest pieces right now. Nobody wants what we have. Once you start talking about the Lakers, I just don't think no one, like outside of THT, I could surely see somebody maybe wanting Malik Monk, right? If I'm a GM and I'm aware of what Austin Reeves brings to the table, I'm taking him from you. You know what I'm saying? I am. If it's me and I'm doing a deal with the Lakers, I'm gonna ask for Austin Reeves. I'm gonna ask for all the stuff that you don't want to give up, essentially, because you don't have nothing. I don't want none of them old guys. They all suck, and if they don't suck, they're on bad contracts. If they're not on bad contracts, they're underperforming. Like, this is the whole team. So even the player like Anthony Davis's value is lower than it would be on average because of how poor he's looked to his standards. So not that anybody would trade Anthony Davis, but I do think we wouldn't get the return that we would normally get for him right now. Everyone's a prisoner in the moment, and value is a reflection of that. So even if we don't agree that his value should be that low, we're going to align with it because everybody else is aligned with it, and that's the price. So it is what it is. That's how that works. And I don't think the Lakers would even consider moving Anthony Davis. I think that's more of a fan sentiment thing. But, when you start talking about what teams would want, yeah, they're not going to want Westbrook. They're not going to even ask for Bron. It's going to be Anthony Davis. It's going to be THT. It's going to be Austin Reeves. It's going to be Malik Monk. All the guys that we want to keep are the ones that everyone's going to ask for. So be prepared, Laker fans. I wouldn't be surprised if something big happens. I would not be surprised if they do something crazy or stupid or drastic to try to save this season, because they may have to. I know a lot of people are not expecting Westbrook to be moved, but if I was your GM, he would be on the way out. He would be gone, because I know that you can't get better so long as his contract is attached to LeBron and AD's contract, and we don't have production out of our role players. As long as that is the case, his contract is a major monkey wrench in our development of this roster over the next several 2-3 years. And his contract is only going to get more expensive as it continues to pile on more years. So to move out from under it right now is the best business decision possible for the Los Angeles Lakers, whether they believe that or not. It's the absolute truth. Unfortunately, because LeBron James is on the team and this is his concoction, in theory, you don't see any possibility of them doing that. But what I'm saying is, if they don't, he ain't getting no ring this year. And again, moving on from Anthony Davis to clear up cap space is not going to make you a better team. Quite cut and dry. You don't get better if you move Anthony Davis. I don't care how bad he's struggling. Unless you can bring in what he is, better go to Cleveland and get Evan Mobley. If you can't bring back what he is, nah, you're not going to get better. So creating cap space in that situation is just that's not helpful. So the way to create space is to get rid of Westbrook's contract. Now, some people are saying trade LeBron James, but no one's doing that. That's never going to enter our minds. First of all, you're not better for trading LeBron James either, obviously. And if I haven't told anybody that, then you probably shouldn't be following basketball. But I think the most important thing is just the respect factor, the clutch factor, and again, this is basically about him. The whole thing is him. If he said he don't want to play with Westbrook or AD, we're trading those dudes next week. Like, this is about him. And so, obviously, this is what we're going to be going along with that as the Lakers. So, I'm good with that. I have no problem with that. I believe in LeBron James, always have, and I'm glad he's here. I think at this point, I just wish he would be willing to make life easier for himself. My opinion about LeBron James is that he's creating unnecessary obstacles for himself with this roster and these rosters he put together since coming here, so that he can have a better argument against Michael Jordan's 6-0 unblemished finals record. I truly believe that. I think that these fits are unconventional. I think if he wanted a seamless Golden State type of fit like KD had, he would have that here, because it's easier to build something conventional than non-conventional, believe it or not. So you have to go out of your way to build something that is awkward as this is, in my opinion. Like, you have to think of this awkwardness and then put it together. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this was purposely put together to be a challenge. And so, because I know that, and as a Laker fan, I'm annoyed by that, but it's like, if Ron can do it, he can do it. You know what I mean? When guys are at that level, they're looking for challenges. When they're at that level, it ain't just the stuff that you are paying attention to that they're aiming for. They're looking for things that are even beyond that. So, like, if I can win with Westbrook, then they ain't never going to put me behind Mike, because I know Mike couldn't win with Westbrook. I know KD couldn't win. You see what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing I think is happening here. And we just got to go along for the ride for it. But somebody else pointed this out, and I'm going to say it too. LeBron James is a win-now player at all times, and he's always on a short contract with the exception of us. But right now it's a short contract because there's only 2 years left. What teams have done in the past with LeBron James, they've brought in win-now talent, and when he wins, he leaves, and then you're left in shambles. The Lakers need to be very wise to not let that happen to us. We understand that he wants to play with his son Bronny, and the chances of us having him land on our team 2 or 3 years from now, who knows? Those chances aren't very good. So the idea is he's probably going to stay for 2 years and then go where that kid is going to be at. Which means we got to make sure that what we have here when he leaves is going to keep us good enough to be acceptable in this league. And you have to plan that way if you're Jeannie Buss. And if they're not playing that way, I want to put it out there in the world that it's time to start thinking that way, because we don't have this guy for long. We don't. This is not a see down the road he's going to be here. He could literally be gone next season. So that's why the timeline is so short. That's why we have to move like players like THT and fire this coach right away. It's because we don't have time to do anything else. So I understand the urgency, and it seems that Rob is ready to make some moves. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's what I got, man. My name is BDO44. I thank you all for watching. Please hit a like for me, and I'm out.